Hello, I'm Kelly, and welcome to Kelly Loves Books and Movies. Today I am going to talk about Catcher in the Rye. This is a second reading for me. I didn't like the book the first time I read it. I thought he was, annoying. I thought Holden was annoying, like a lot of people. But Pat from Book Chat with Pat talks a lot about this, has been talking a lot about this book as being one of her favorites and one of her favorites to teach. And she made a video. She's doing a series about books she loved to teach, and she did do one for Catcher in the Rye. So when she made that video, after I watched it, I thought maybe I should give this book another try. So, to begin, the first time I read this book was, I think I was 19 to 22-ish. I don't remember exactly, but I think that's about the time I read it. So now, that's like more than 30 years ago. At the time, let's put it this way. When I was reading this at like 19 to 22, I was trying to cope with my own big loss, and now looking back, knowing I, was seriously depressed myself at that time. So that's where I was, my state of mind reading this for the first time. And I've said in other videos that I have much less patience and empathy for fictional characters than I do people in real life. I'm a lot tougher on fictional characters. I just figured this out recently, but yeah. So all those things together, I didn't like the book back then. The first time I read it, I did think he was pretty whiny and obnoxious and judgmental. Again, 30 years ago, so I'm kind of guessing at what I thought back then. I don't remember exactly, but I'm thinking that's probably what I thought about it. I probably thought he should just suck it up and get over it, like, you were supposed to do back then. At least where I grew up, you didn't do what, suck it up, get over it, be normal. That's kind of the attitudes, not great attitudes, but that's kind of how it was back then. So, that probably influenced how I thought. All right, I got lots of notes. So because of Pat, I thought I'd give it another try. Before I started reading it again, I watched Pat's video again, just so I would have some of her thoughts fresh in my mind when I started reading. So on my second time, I just finished today. The second time through, 30-some years later, I definitely found him funnier than last time. I think I was probably humorless back then, I don't know, but I totally found Holden to be much funnier than I did the first time. I also think that I understood better that in his telling this from the hospital, he's probably not remembering everything exactly how they happened either, and he's probably exaggerating the way things kind of were at times. And then also with the advantage of my being much older, I think I can look back and understand that he's just a teenager. And even non-depressed regular teenagers, especially teenage boys, can be annoying and impulsive and, just they can do some pretty dumb things. I mean, I don't have brothers, but I have boy cousins, and I'm just saying. I do think at the time I read it, I was probably just really annoyed with teenage boys that just, over it all. So that obviously clouded my judgment some. One thing that didn't bother me then, but okay, yeah, I read this today and I was like, oh, okay. when he goes to the first time he goes into that one bar and the waiter won't serve him a drink because he's obviously underage. And he gets kind of mad, but he like understands that, okay, he might lose his job. Well, one of my jobs, I serve alcohol, and that is one of my biggest pet peeves. Well, first of all, the 21, 22-year-olds who get mad at you for carding them drives me crazy. But also, that is like one of my biggest fears. I mean, some nights I go home and I worry that, did I accidentally serve someone underage? So far, I'm good. But yeah, like that is my, it was good in it. He tried, but when he wasn't all cranky about it. But yeah, that kids who try to get alcohol kind of drive me crazy in my current job. But like back then, that never would have bothered me at all. Well, the first time I read this, probably didn't even think much of it because everybody does it. But a little more judgy towards kids who try to do that now because I could go to jail, literally. All right. And his obsession with the ducks kind of makes me laugh now. It's like, dude, they went south for the winter. But then he does say at one point that he was no good at science. But like, hello, ducks fly south in the winter. Come on. It kind of made me laugh. And then he also kind of got obsessed, just slightly, not as much as the ducks, but where the fish go when it's frozen. They're there. All right. So overall, did I change my mind? I think if I had read this in like high school when I was like 14, 15 years old and had a teacher like Pat, I probably would have liked it the first time. And but reading it at 19, 20, 21, whenever it was, yeah, I was kind of over the whole high school and high school kids at that time. Kind of like thinking of that reminds me of the one older friend he goes to meet for a drink, the one that goes to Columbia, I think. And yeah, his older friend is pretty annoyed by him and asks him when's he gonna grow up already. And that's probably the friend's attitude was probably the kind of way I was thinking of it when I read it the first time. So the second time around, much older, a little bit wiser maybe, with a little more life experience under my belt. I still didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. I'm much more sympathetic and empathetic towards Holden. I'm still kind of rolling my eyes at him now and then, but I'm not as annoyed by him. I don't judge him like I did back then. I definitely found him more funny. I did think he was always talking about trying to do the right thing, like the way he treated the girls he was dating and how, if they said no, he was like, all right, let's go home. And he was good with them. And that's, obviously good. And he's actually he's a pretty friendly guy. He likes chatting with a lot of people, even though, he might consider them phony. And it was interesting, the differences between the conversations he had with the nuns versus like the conversations he had with those three girls he was dancing with at the nightclub that one night in the hotel. Like, he was so annoyed with them because they wouldn't just have a decent conversation with him. And like the nuns treated him well and, had a decent conversation with him. So sometimes all he wanted to do was chat with people and people just didn't want to chat. I don't know. I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't know. Back then, were people friendly? Because like now, you don't just sit down and chat with people. But I mean, that's more of me. I mean, I come from a Norwegian immigrant community and yeah, you don't just sit down and start chatting with people. But, I guess lots of other people do. Anyway, so yeah, I changed my mind and I did like it a lot more than I liked it the first time. So thanks, Pat, for changing my mind. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time.